Welcome to Money Difference. I'm Myra Oliver, and this is where we're going to show you how you can make a difference with your money. I'm so excited today. I have a great guest who's built an amazing passive income with a rental portfolio. So please help me welcome Randy Barber. Hey, Randy.
Hi there. Thank you.
Love having you here,
Well,
man.
thank you very much.
I've known Randy, gosh, how long have we known each other? 15 years at least?
Oh, yeah, easy.
Every bit,
Yeah.
right? We both were youngsters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're still youngsters. So it's good to have you
Well,
here.
thank you for having me.
Okay, Randy, I want you to tell everybody how you got started and tell about your journey of passive income and rental property.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me here. And again, my name's Randy. I'm from Paris, Texas, and didn't really know that I could go to college. And I had an aunt and uncle that had gotten into real estate, and it talked to me a little bit about, if I wanted to go to college. And so I decided, heck, I'll give it a shot. So I came over to Denton, went to North Texas, and each month my job was to collect rent, mow the yards for my uncle there was 5 properties on, one address there,
Yeah.
one big unit. So I started collecting rent, doing the yards, and immediately I knew I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to collect the rent, and I looked up to him and wanted to learn, how to do that, but I never knew that I could. So he just said, buy your first one. So I slowly, saved my money and bought my first one. And
How old were you when you bought the
I
first
was right
one?
out of college, and when I graduated, it was my first year out of college. I was 21. It's been
That's
right
awesome.
20,
That's
I guess
great.
20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, right at 20, 25 years ago now.
That's great.
So, and then each year I would just, slowly save up and, continue to, save a down payment, and I would buy another one. And it just pretty much grew from there.
How many do you have now?
I'm at 31 units.
31 units.
Yep.
That's
Pretty excited.
awesome. So do you self-manage or do you have a property manager?
Well, currently I'm doing it all myself. We've been, looking at, doing a management company. But right now, I'm single, no children, so I just do it all myself.
Yeah. So how much time do you think that takes? Like time, how much weekly, monthly, or how much time does it take? Because we want them to understand that when you buy a rental property, I want them to know the ins and outs. So share with them a little bit about timing.
It's not too bad. I mean, it goes in spurts. Your winter months, when things are rolling smoothly, there's not much to do. And then, you'll get calls sometimes. The main thing is having systems in place.
At 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
should we tell them about those?
There are some, but I'm always on call. Like I say, I never neglect my renters. I try to, make sure they're happy because, I'm a referral-based business with my tenants here. And so,
Yeah.
I always make sure that I, make the calls to get the right workers in place to, keep those guys happy.
So what are some of the things you look for when you're looking for a rental property?
Well, it started out real simple, and I still follow the same method. I always, if I could make, $300 to $400, I'm not a real complicated guy that does these different formulas. If I could make, $300 or $400 over, the total payment, with my taxes and insurance included, then I would look at that deal. Real
I
soon.
love that.
So it's pretty simple.
Are you still buying?
Yeah, it's not as much. The market's, changed a little. It's not as, buyer friendly out there right now. But I do always look, and that's what I tell everyone that asks me. I'm always looking for a deal. And, if you're not looking, then you're not going to find a
Yes,
deal.
exactly
Sometimes
right.
you may get lucky, but because
Yeah.
people know that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I'll have people reach out to me. So
People call you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we get
I have that.
sometimes.
People call me and go, hey, you want to buy something?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's great. Well, so do you feel like it's a full-time job?
No, I mean, I don't because I enjoy doing it, and it's getting to the point where I'm starting to see the rewards. We've got several paid off, and I'm able to travel, and I'm out here right now in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not at a job, so I really enjoy that part. The freedom has been the biggest part that I enjoy for me.
So tell us about freedom, because that's what we talk about here at Money Difference, is that we try to help people figure out how they can create a passive income, either through business, through investments, or through real estate. And so what we want to do is share with them ways they can do it because of the freedom, because freedom gives you options, right?
Oh, yeah.
And choices. So share about freedom.
Well, I like to go places. I have a group of friends, and we do a lot of traveling. And at first I knew I couldn't always take off the way they did. So my first goal was to not have to be anywhere at any time. And some people it's money and units. Mine was just to make enough cash flow where I knew I could go anywhere I wanted to and not have to be at a job at any time.
That's a great goal.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a set number that I was going after. I just wanted to have that freedom to be able to take days off, and my mom's getting older, and I like to go visit and do things, and not have to be at a job all day.
Yeah, I love that. So Randy, what's been the hardest part about doing rental properties?
Well, now it's a matter of finding, staying focused and finding the next deal. You get, used to your management systems and, knowing the right contractors and workers. I figured that part out, but just, staying aggressive and, going out there and finding the next property along with these contractors, that is, I skipped by that part, but it is, you get used to, having the headaches of, dealing with, the contractors and making sure that they're doing the way you want it to be done. And, because sometimes they'll do it, in hurries, and they're doing several jobs. So, between contractors, to me, and finding, staying focused and finding the next deal is really what I, struggle with sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's been Rick, my husband's biggest struggle, because he manages ours, and he says that just finding the right people, and then he'll get somebody really good, and then they get too busy, and he goes, I gotta quit referring them.
The good ones stay busy.
The good ones stay really busy. And he said, I think that our goal is we're moving towards maybe finding us a handyman that we hire just for our properties. So, because the management side of it, the financials and the P&Ls for each property, that's the easy part, and paying the bills. The harder part is really, truly is doing the work. Do you agree? Because Rick does a lot of it himself, and I think you do too, right?
Some of it.
Yeah. So it's just getting that group of people together that, you have your plumber, you've got your AC guy, you got the different people, and then them just being able to get to it and get on it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So tell me about, as far as, do you like doing leverage on your properties? Is that how you like doing it to have the most? Give some tips to, we've got people out here that probably have never bought a rental property, and you've got some that are at 2 or 3, 4 and wanting to go to the next level. And I know you did mortgage before, right?
Yes.
So you understand that side of it. So
yeah, I do leverage. Some people just use their extra cash flow to pay them down faster. Everyone, there's different strategies you can do there,
right.
but I definitely do borrow against other properties. I've recently have formed a line of credit where I will borrow against the equity, in the current properties to help me buy more. Because without having another job to be saving up, cash, sometimes I'm not as, cash liquid, I guess.
Right.
So I'll borrow against that property to help, to buy more.
Yep. Yeah.
So I do that.
And so do you feel like do you do 15-year notes, or do you like 30-year notes, or what is your favorite way when you do finance?
When I first started, I was just looking at cash flow, and I just wanted to know how much could I make per month. So I was doing on 30s, and after setting in different classes, again, I don't know that there's a right or wrong way, but to get them paid off, quicker, and to have the larger cash flow, I do everything on the 10 or 15-year notes
now. So 10 or 15-year notes now is what you're doing. What's the rates now for investment property?
Well, you can now, it's, the rates, you can get down to 3 and 4%, some 5%, depending on what how many properties and your credit. So the money's definitely not an excuse. To me, I wish I was buying, we should be buying.
Do I hear that? Money is not an excuse not to move forward on your passive income. I want to make sure they heard that.
Well, when we started, remember, it was all in double digits.
Yeah, it was double digits.
You're excited to get below 10.
Yeah. And they're complaining about 3% now. I'm like, are you kidding? We were in a market when it was much higher than that. So you're in a good place at 3%. So if you were starting all over, so think about these people today, and they're starting in 2019, right? And you and I started, well, I think I bought my first property in the 90s. So, or actually, nope, it was 89. And so I bought my first in 89, and we had high interest rates then too. So what would you tell somebody in 2019? What's your best tip?
To start. I mean, that's what, I have so many friends that, they want to do it. They see what I do, and they think, it's just, can I do that? And I'm like, I did it, and just to start, to find someone you look up to, ask questions, learn, and to take that first step. You have to save money, of course, to have your down payment.
Still 20%? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
About 20% down? Are you using local banks, or do you have other options?
When I began, I started with the actual mortgage. I got with the lender and did the mortgage route, and then it's a little bit confusing if you're new, but once you get over a certain amount of properties, you will have to find some local money to go to the bank, and that's what I do now.
Is that still 7? How many properties can you have now?
I'm not sure. With all
the
changes in the industry,
that's
a little confusing to me. I'm over that mark, but
I've
heard
you're
7.
way over that
mark.
mark.
I've heard 7. I've heard 10. I'm not sure on that, but I'm not positive on that, because with all the changes.
Yeah.
But I would just get with the lender and ask those questions. But the main, I just tell everyone to start. I was nervous
Just get
wreck.
started.
Yep.
I was 21 when I bought my first house, and I still own it. And the cool thing is I paid $35,000 for that house. That house is worth $175,000. I have collected $300,000 since I've owned it in rent. So I think that cash flows, don't you?
That's pretty exciting.
And I still could sell it at any time because I still own it. So now it's become, it's kind of special, being the first property. So tell me this, how's your life different now?
Well, it's pretty nice. Now I get to do the things I've always dreamt of doing. We go to Vegas 3 or 4 times a year. I'm a big travel guy, but I enjoy seeing different places and getting to do things that I never thought I could do. So coming where I came from, with a pretty poor upbringing. Neither one of my parents went to high school. So it's a pretty neat deal. I get to give back to them and do things. My mom's doing some things. She's actually one of my rent houses now in Denton, so I've helped her, and that's probably the most exciting part is being able to do things for them that I never didn't really know I could do.
I mean, especially at this young age, and you being able to be free. I mean, freedom is just, that's why I try to really stress to people is that the great thing about life is that we all have a choice, right? And if you wouldn't have taken those action steps, you could have got caught up in the grind, right, of working day to day at a job, J-O-B, just over broke. You could have got caught in that, but you decided to take action. And I think that's so important when it comes to building a passive income, whether it's doing investments or starting a business or, doing the rental properties. Both of us, that was our decision to go to the rental place. Tell me about some of your other things that you're doing. So do you would you rather do single family homes or do you think multiple family?
Well, for myself, I've always done single family because that's the way I learned it. And being a simple guy, I just stuck to what I knew and the way I learned it. I have been reading and trying to learn more about the multi-unit side, just to expand the portfolio. But I've also recently done, Airbnb. I've learning about that because it's such a new hot trend. It seems like with a lot of the younger people that want to come in and do Airbnb. So I've been playing with that a little bit. And that's been really good. Again, just trying to add more cash flow.
You're managing it yourself. You're doing it and you're managing it and taking care of it.
It's very easy. Even with the app, it's very it's a matter of just watching over the app, and then organizing the cleaning. That's really about all you're doing.
That's great. That's fantastic. So tell me some more. Tell me about, so how are you doing your financials? Do you have a CPA doing it or do you do your own P&Ls or how do you do it?
Well, and earlier when you asked, what I struggle with, that would definitely be mine because I never sat in front of a computer. I've never done a spreadsheet. I'm a very.
You guys see?
But
You see how easy this is?
It is. I mean, it's
I love that about you.
I use a guy up in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Again, the first person I've used, I've been using him since '99.
Yeah.
I still use the same group. They laugh at me every year I come in. It's a big deal, and it costs me more money to do it that way probably because I have to hire them to do all the paperwork. But I'm not a spreadsheet kind of guy. I've never have, and that's another goal of mine. Is each year I always tell myself I'm going to learn how to do a spreadsheet so I can sit down and do that. I just I have never ever sat in front of a
I love
spreadsheet.
it.
So
I think that's, what, Rick Oliver does not either. He doesn't even get on the computer, but he prints out, I'll do him a Word doc, he prints it out and he just goes off that and he's happy with that. But I think that's something that you got to tell people because everybody thinks everything has to be so complicated. And I am just like you. I do everything simple. I've got a high school education. There's nothing special about me. But I'm going to tell you what, I will outwork anybody. And I love doing things simple because people can duplicate simple.
Yep.
And so I think that's important that people understand that you can duplicate what we're doing. There's nothing special about either one of us. Well, Randy's pretty special. But there's nothing special. We just decided to take action. And by taking action, we decided to find that first property. The first one's the hardest. It gets easier after that, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the first one, I remember, man, I had to check it out. We had to do 10 inspections. I got to go back and see it 3 times before I'll pull the trigger. And now, man, I can do a drive-by. Yeah, I think it's good. Let's go make an offer. That's terrible. I'm not advising you to do it that way. But it's funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yep.
So anyway, so give us some more tips on what you think that a first-time person that may want to get into rental property ideas you have for
Well,
them.
just continue to learn. I mean, that's the thing nowadays. There's always someone out there that that loves to tell their story, and you just got to find those people and just listen to what they've done and learn. And when I see people do it, that I'm like, they're no different than I am. It's just a matter of again starting that process to get out there and buy one. And and I keep a blank contract in my truck. There's always one in there, and I bought one. It's it's funny.
That's a great idea.
I was with a friend. I play a lot of basketball to keep active, and we were going to the church one day, and I get this lead, and I said, "Man, you care if I go there?" So we go there, and I did the contract right there. And the guy said, "You keep a blank contract," but it was it was a cool deal. I bought that house. Literally walked up the house, looked at it, ran the numbers, and we bought the house right then. So I that was always a funny story that he teased me about. So I just stay ready. I'm always ready to do the next deal.
Yeah.
And,
What's the worst thing that's happened to you with a rental property? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, buying in a different area I'm not familiar with. my grandmother was, she was local, and she referred me several deals back years ago, and she told me, she said, Randy, there's a little deal out in Whitesboro. It was up past,
Yeah,
East
yeah,
Whitesboro.
yeah.
I'd never even been in that town. So she told me the number on it, and I ran over and bought it. Didn't know anything about it. I just knew that for $15,000 I could not lose. And this
Yeah.
is back years ago.
Right.
And I made 20 trips, and I always tell the story. I got stopped by the same little police officer in one of the little small towns.
Yeah.
Got 2 speeding tickets in 2 days.
Yep.
Ended up having to dig the floor.
That's how they make money in those little small
Oh, yeah.
towns.
But we didn't make very much. But we didn't lose on it.
Yeah.
I did just enough to get by. But just bought on impulse in another town. So I try to stick local to where I'm at, where I can know the market, or at least learn what I'm buying.
Yeah.
Or you kind of know the numbers.
Rick and I had our worst experience was we bought a house for $25,000 in Dallas, and it was in an area he would wear his uniform to go collect rent. So I didn't get to go help him or do anything with him. And the people were hoarders. They had lived there like 6 years, and Rick would go and collect rent because they're not going to mail you rent. You better go collect it. It's usually cash because he didn't have bank accounts. That's not how they live their life. And so Rick would go collect rent, and the front room was perfect when he would go collect rent. So the front room was absolutely perfect, right? And so he didn't think anything about it. They go to move out. He walks in to check on it, and he walked in the front room, and it's perfect. And he couldn't even get through the halls or anything. They had to break out the windows and pull stuff out of the windows to even get in there because it was so packed of trash. And that was the worst experience we ever had. And I don't want to scare anybody, but this is the good and bad and ugly, right? And so that was the worst. We've only had that happen one time, but it did cost us several $1,000s, to get it all cleared out and all that. So my advice would be to do once a year inspections. But for people, especially that stay a long time, do you do
yeah.
those?
Yeah, not as often as some landlords, but we do. If I have a long-term tenant, we'll just make it, we're in the neighborhood. I want to give them plenty of notice, then we'll go look at it. Sometimes my dad will come down and help me do he's in town now, actually. We've done a couple small jobs, and he'll come in and we'll go around and, so we're going to clean the heating. Just to
He's got to be
service.
proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine that he is.
He's over there now. He's excited.
I know. And I know your mom, so I can imagine how proud they are of you because there's nothing better than watching your kids just totally thrive, right, and win the game. And that's what you're doing. So I just want to congratulate you and thank you so much for doing this for me.
It's very exciting.
We're excited having you here, and we're getting ready to put you on YouTube. Hope you're okay with that. Even though you won't ever see it. You're not on. So thank you all for being with us today, and we want to have you back. So stay tuned because we'll be back at Money Difference.